So we're also a public company. So back in 2013, and this is pretty this is a pretty important piece. And when we started EXP Realty in 2009, I refer to myself as a focus group of one. So I started at Prudential at a local office in Bellingham, Washington, and I was the number one. I was the rookie of the year, and I was the number one buyer's agent my first full year at the office, number 3 in the office. And so I'm a driven, high D personality. I'm big on sort of the production side, but I actually went into the office and said, "Hey guys, can I get a piece of the brokerage? I'd like to become an owner." And I was turned down, flat turned down. And so in 2004, I moved to Keller Williams, and quickly became the number one producing team in the office that I was in by a significant margin. I was I think in 2006, I was number 3 in the region, which was, I think, Washington, Oregon, Idaho, and Alaska, if I'm not mistaken. But I was number 3, so I was doing a lot of volume, 60 million in production, and I wanted to get some ownership at the local office, and they didn't offer me any either, at least not a meaningful amount. I was offered actually 1%, but when I left, the office unfortunately had to be taken over by some local agents who would take over the bills, because we represented such a high amount of the production in the office that they had to put an injection in the office to keep it going. They made it through the other side, which is great, but had they offered me a meaningful amount of equity, which at the time I was willing to pay for, we might not be sitting here today. But I always think about the idea of being an equity owner as being one of the biggest opportunities that I think people who think long term would want to be to have. The other piece that I noted back then, and it was a personal observation, was that the only thing I could get ownership of, even if I was offered ownership at the local level, meaningful ownership, is I could only get ownership of the local office, and that's where obviously the biggest amount of capital spend is done for a real estate franchise or brand, is that local office. But there was no way to get ownership at the parent company level. So Remax, of course, you can certainly buy Remax shares. They're publicly traded now. At the time, they weren't. Certainly, Gary Keller's not really sharing his equity with the masses, and so that was something that's always bugged me, always eluded me, that the parent company, even in a downturn, should survive. And so, I don't think that Remax as a brand's going away. I don't think Keller Williams as a brand's going away. I don't think that many of the brands that we currently know on a national level are going away. But a lot of the franchised offices are going to have a lot of financial challenges in the next 30, 60, 90, maybe 6 months to a year. And many of them are going to have to close their doors, and they won't have anything to show for it because they're not shareholders with the parent company. So so share ownership was a big deal. In 2013, we actually bought and actually reverse merged ourselves into a public company for the single purpose of sharing equity with our agents and brokers. That was the whole thing. We didn't do an IPO. We didn't go grab a bunch of Wall Street money. We actually did it with the whole idea of sharing equity with the agents and brokers who are out there actively producing listing and sales out in the marketplace. And so we did that, and so we created a equity plan, an icon plan, and then we also in 2015, I believe, we introduced the ability for agents to actually contribute 5%. It's you can contribute or not contribute, but 5% and into our stock comp plan, and effectively receive stock at a 10% discount to market. So originally it was at 20%. We were on the OTC. It was restricted stock. Now we're fully NASDAQ listed, and so there's that discount, and that's calculated at the end of every month. So for those who are participating this month, obviously a little bit better price than it was a couple months ago, but still, the opportunity to build up additional equity is there and meaningful for that. And then, of course, agents do have the ability, if they want to, they can be participants in because we're NASDAQ, they can buy as much stock technically as they want, or in theory as much as they want through their stockbroker, et cetera. So it's pretty cool. We're shoulder to shoulder with everyone in EXP. There's no second class of stock. Everybody's part of the same shareholdership structure, and pretty excited. So